What up, perps? Copious back in effect. Purple State Party, you know what we're doing here, man. We're repping America, the center, common sense, and freedom from all tyrants. The people can label this hyperbole, but the left is trying to destroy America. Not just the country, but the ideals. And the reason why it's not hyperbole is because we could just open up the devil's playbook and see exactly what they're going to do. Got a lot to unpack, so let's get this show popping. All right, so looking at the devil's playbook, you know, aka the books that Lenin, Marx wrote, things that led to communism, that led to all the crap that we have in this world. You know, all the wars, the Cold Wars, the war in Ukraine right now. This is one-party leadership. And there's a playbook for it. And one of the first things you have to do is you have to destroy the family. Like we see right here. In California, a parent could lose custody for not affirming what their child believes. That is giving kids way too much power. Okay? And at the end of the day, even if the court forces the parent to say, oh, I affirm, or the parent says, oh, I affirm, that doesn't mean they believe it. So it's kind of a useless law. It's, you know, designed, though, to take kids away from their parents. Parents are evil. The family is evil. And there's another family. It's called the American family. And that's certainly one family they must destroy, because the American family, wow, that's a powerful thing, as we're seeing. You know, when large enough groups of Americans say enough is enough and they boycott something, look what happens. You know, the other thing you have to do is you have to destroy history. The best way to destroy history, especially America's history, because remember, America overthrew a single party rule. Keep your eye on that, 1776. Those two flags should fly equally together. Okay? I know there's statutes and things like that. You don't, you know, if you want to tell me about them, put them down in the comments, but philosophically, they should fly together. But to destroy American history is going to take a lot of work. And the first thing you have to do is you have to destroy America as an ideal. You have to break it down to one party. Pencil neck's party right there. Look at that fucker. And they have actually shown this, where they want to go light on the flag burners if it's an American flag, and then they want to go hard on the pride. And I get that. I get that one is a hate crime. I do understand that. I don't think anybody should burn a pride flag. But this is being used as a tool to destroy America and America's ideals. And when that doesn't work, you know, the next step is to silence people. And we all know about that. There's subjects right now that I wish I could speak about, but the video would get taken down. Demonetized, as they say. I don't make any money off this, folks. You can look at my analytics. They're all right there. I ain't getting jack shit out of this. This is my heart. That's what gets paid here. Trying to make a difference. But my voice will be silenced. And if my voice won't be silenced, well, then I'll be threatened. And what we're looking at right now with the Trump indictments, and keep in mind, folks, you can indict a potato chip. Okay, this is not going to end up going anywhere. As we'll see, there are reasons. This isn't going to do anything. This is a smear job on a candidate. Somebody who, you know, in all fairness, did a pretty good job. All right? Did a pretty good job. We didn't have the same sort of problems that we do right now in 3 years under your guy. You know, the people that the left appointed to be their puppet. But Elon says, you know, it does seem to be far higher interest in pursuing Trump compared to other people in politics. And the justice system does need to be impartial. But when it's weaponized like this, whether it's against the guy you hate or not, it's not a good idea to start doing this shit. You know, and they have weaponized it. That's what they're going after. And they do it on the same day that there's evidence mounting against the current president's possible corruption. He's covering up his family's corruption by maliciously prosecuting his 2024 opponent. There's not much inaccurate in that. I mean, that the numbers say that Trump's going to be the one running. So what do? You threaten him. The U.S. is not a banana republic, says Biden while showing off cool new uniform. One-party rule, folks. I don't know where it's working. If it's worked well somewhere, put it down here. But I'd hazard a guess it's going to be kind of hard to find leaders who have had their political opponents arrested. Those are true statements. Those people did do those. Those people right there, the Hitlers of the world, the Stalins. One-party rule. Not so great for a lot of people. Not so great. I don't think we have to talk about what Adolf did up there. But that was not good. And that was the socialist, one-party, one-mind thing. Get on the same page or get in your grave. And that's what they have proposed for us right now. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. So talking about the documents that have led to this indictment against Trump, Waters from Fox, I believe, points out, rightfully and equally so, George H. Bush's records ended up in a strip mall between a Chinese restaurant and a bowling alley. Bill Clinton had them in his sock drawer. He had documents at a car dealership. George W. Bush stored his in a warehouse. Now, that seems somewhat practical and at least thought out. Obama kept his in a defunct furniture shop right across the street from a Mickey D's. But 30 FBI agents didn't show up to their doorstep with guns. Their wives never had their underwear drawers rummaged through. This should have been stopped. In fact, at the end of the case, President Trump will be able to argue for Joe Biden to return these personal documents back to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. Because this is protected by presidential perks. And everybody knows this is just about stopping Trump. Everybody knows it. Rachel Maddow straight up admitted it. Whether part of the issue here is not just that he committed crimes, but that he plans on being back in the White House. And Waters sums it up brilliantly. Plead guilty, promise not to run against Biden, and we won't throw you in jail. That's threats. That's intimidation. That's the Department of Justice, the FBI, all of the government agencies basically getting in line with the party that they see trying to take over and establish one-party rule. Both sides would love to do it, but the two sides used to be much closer. Now you've got a left that's way over here and trying to lead us down the path of actual socialism. You can call it what you want. Democratic socialism, whatever you want. It's fucking communism. It's tyranny. That's what it is, and that's what they're working towards. John Stossel brings up an interesting point about socialism versus nature. Greed of the fossil fuel industry is destroying our planet, says Bernie Sanders. Young people agree. Their solution is socialism. AOC says socialism creates an environment that provides for all people, not just the privileged few. No, that's not true. It's nonsense. The environmental movement socialists are wrong about what's green. For one thing, private farmers are concerned about the ability of the farm to grow food next year. Why? Because the farm has capital value. That's the capitalism. That's how capitalism protects the environment. Because it creates wealth. It incentivizes people to protect the environment that they are using, or it will disappear and they won't be able to make money. It also promotes that one mind thing. And this is a great example of socialism as a whole. In China, they noticed that sparrows were eating grain. So they encouraged people to kill the sparrows. They shot them. They banged pans and blew horns, scaring sparrows to stay aloft for longer than they could tolerate. Poor exhausted birds were falling out of the sky dead because the government said we needed to do it and nobody wanted to speak up. And people were powerless to speak up. They had no recourse. If you fail to show enthusiasm for the socialist goals, you were going to be in trouble. The party's campaign succeeded. They killed nearly every sparrow. But it only takes 2 minutes of thinking to figure, wait, who's going to eat all the bugs? Without sparrows, insects multiplied. The bugs destroyed more crops than the sparrows had. People ended up starving. Socialism means central planning, and that ends badly. One of the problems we have with California wildfires, a lot of federal land. Feds don't have the money. They don't have the inclination to take care of it. It burns. One party rule, one central government does not work, folks. That's what people like Newsom and the puppet masters behind Biden want. They don't want states. They want one country who is ruled by one party. And they're going to tell us how to make life better. But they have to destroy our ideals first. Because this country, like we always say, was founded by throwing out tyranny. They want to impose tyranny, and it doesn't work. AOC wants to give the Pentagon and similar agencies control over the whole society. Central planning doesn't work. Socialist China has so much fertilizer runoff that it's killing fish. Air pollution kills 1 million people per year. We're worried about guns that kill like somewhere around 20,000 people. Remember, killed, not self-killed. 1 million. Because nobody could push back. They're powerless to push back. And America wasn't founded on powerless people. There you go. Here's another thing. See, capitalists can afford to pay for wild animal preserves. When no one has property rights and people are poor, tigers and elephants are considered a burden. That's just true. They have to be killed. You kill them. When you're wealthier, you care about the environment. Socialists say they care, but the real world shows to protect the environment, capitalism works better. Look, if zoos didn't make money, they would close, right? Research centers, things like that. Look at around the world. Open your eyes beyond America and see that here in America, we don't kill every single cougar that comes down out of the mountains, right? We relocate them, we track them, we treat them, hell, here in California, we treat one like a celebrity. In other parts of the world, leopards, tigers, things like that, they have to be hunted because there's no other solution, because there's not any money to, properly take care of these animals when they come in contact with the humans. There's nothing that can be done. But whatever, if you think socialism works, show me where. Put it down there in the comments, and while you're down there, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I could use it. In crime-ridden Portland, weed industry gets twice as much funding as new cops. Ted Wheeler, he's going to spend $5.3 million to hire new police officers to better address rising vehicle and retail theft. Okay. So $5.3 million to hire 43 new police officers. $10 million on marijuana-related initiatives. And what are these? Marijuana, I mean, it's legal there. What do you need to do? Well, they're going to supposedly be paying funds to rectify past racially biased cannabis policies and disparate cannabis-related arrests, and support Black, Indigenous, and people of color and women-led small business initiatives. Hey, can we just say racism? Because that's what it is. You notice that a white guy who was unjustly arrested, not getting any money. Same thing with the business initiatives. Because when you group every single white person together, it's really easy to call them a majority. But let's look at that. What is the actual minority? There's somewhat like 1 million Armenians in our country. Are they not? What about a Ukrainian? Ukrainian family comes over to Portland. Are they going to get money to set up a weed shop or a small business? No, because they're not a minority. What about adopted people like myself? 4 to 5 million of us. Ooh, that's way less than there are other so-called minorities. And this isn't about crying foul because I'm a white person. It's crying foul because there is no social inequity when you flat out remove white people. You flat out remove straight people. Programs should be there. They should have an emphasis. They should do outreach. They should provide money for people and make sure that it does get to those people if they apply. But to then say, we're not going to allow these people, well, you are discriminating against minorities. Because not every single white person, white people are, same thing with the Asians, even the blacks. They come from different walks of life. They're not all the same. And if we're going to treat everybody like it's all the biggest group we could throw you into, then why do we waste so much time with all of the other labels that we have to learn about every day? It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. So California decides unannounced illegal immigrants aren't so fun after all. Newsom called DeSantis a pathetic little boy. This isn't Martha's Vineyards. Kidnapping charges. Yeah, they want to bring up kidnapping charges. They're saying that these illegal aliens were kidnapped in Florida and sent to California, and they're not having it. Even though they go out of their way to say they're a sanctuary city. Bonta, the DA here in California, we are evaluating potential criminal or civil action against those who transported or arranged for the transport of these vulnerable immigrants. Notice they throw in the adjective vulnerable to make us feel sorry for them, and then immigrants without the illegal part. See, they were... And I don't get this. Meanwhile, places like El Paso are just drowning, literally drowning in immigrants rushing the border. Biden, Mayorkas, they could scream that the border isn't open, but around the world, all they're hearing is the border's open, and they're handing out checks. Yeah, like a dozen of them. And Newsom says it's cruel and unusual to fly immigrants to California. Yeah, I could see that. I can definitely see that. How are they going to make it out here? How are these people going to make it here? They're just, from day one, they're going to be struggling and surviving on the government. You see, that's the part. It doesn't matter if they think that these immigrants that come to our country are all going to vote Democrat. The Democrats are the one handing them the free cell phones and the checks and stuff like that. So of course they're going to vote that way, or they're not going to vote. Because chances are, long before their asylum hearing comes, they're going to disappear into the woodwork. They're going to establish their own lives off the grid, so to speak, and they're not ever going to register to vote. But they will always insist that the people who can vote that way because they want their checks and free cell phones. Newsom gets revenge on DeSantis by continuing to send thousands of Californians to Florida. Yeah. I get it. I understand. I like weed. Some states are friendlier to weed. All right? I get that. You have to make those choices, where you're going to live. And here in America, we're allowed to do that. And a lot of people have just got fed up with what's going on in California. They see the writing on the wall. But why is California so upset about all these immigrants? Well, the state Senate just passed a bill that's going to give unemployed illegal migrants $300 a week, $1,200 a month for up to 20 weeks. Despite the fact California broke. So maybe they don't want more here because that'll just mean more checks. Because after all, remember, this is a party that blames the rich while being rich themselves. You can't trust anything they say. The far lefties, you can't trust a word they say. Reparations, college, student loans. These are things that they dangled and were taken away. And they knew they would be taken away. They knew it was wrong. See, they have properly silenced me because there are things that I wish I could bring up right now, but I know we're not allowed to bring them up. Whether you agree with me or not on those particular subjects, the fact that you can't bring it up is the problem. And that's the problem that should piss off Americans on both sides of the fence. Here's one I never thought I'd talk about. Former Dodgers great Steve Garvey exploring U.S. Senate bid in California. I was a Dodger fan growing up. Not sure how I feel right now. Baseball, I barely even pay attention to it. But Steve Garvey was my best friend's favorite Dodger. My favorite Dodger was Penguin Ron Cey. His quotes were a little off, weren't they? But hey, so I grew up with a rivalry with Steve Garvey. But what he is saying here really bears repeating. He's been approached by both sides to run for office. I'm 74, he says. I had a great life, but I'm saddened by what's happening in our society. A place like California needs two voices. Needs more, I would argue. But it does need at least two. We have to reconsider what we're doing. The problem is that we have this one-party system here in California who has tried these grandiose liberal theories, and it's failing. But instead of admitting their mistakes, they double down. They worry about guns when fentanyl is killing more people. They worry about the homeless, drug addict zombies on the fucking streets, not the people who are paying the taxes and working hard, just trying to make ends meet. And some guy says, look, I don't mind sleeping in a tent and shitting on the sidewalk as long as I can slam my fucking dope. And the state of California says, guess what? You can do that. And if you do something, if you step out of line, we're not going to punish you for it. But who are you punishing? You're punishing, for example, that little girl who just got punched in the face by a homeless lady. You're making people pay every single day as they're witness to crime, as they're victims of crime, as their shops disappear. Because, hey, it's just not profitable. Too much shit getting stolen, too many threats. Look at San Francisco. Downtown San Francisco is crumbling because of these policies, and they will double down on them. They can't admit they're wrong, and nobody, because it's one party, nobody can really stand up and say, stop it. This is I bring this one up here because this is part of the stupid ass indoctrination that goes on. Michelle Rodriguez was saying, hey, not just, and she wasn't talking about just black actors, but, invent your own new characters. Not that white people need to hold on to, I want my Spider-Man to be white. That's not that. It's that it's a cheat. It's part of an agenda. It's not inventive. It shouldn't be rewarded if you simply make a character black. Oh, we're making the Little Mermaid black. Wow. Are you going to make it good? Well, we don't need to. We don't need to make it that good. I mean, look, it's woke, so people will go. But what's woke is in this article, of all people, Michelle Rodriguez has a problem with this, despite being a minority herself. She said minorities need to stop taking white superheroes and get their own. So, despite being a minority, you see that? That's that groupthink. You're Hispanic. You must believe this. And you also must call yourself Latinx. Bullshit. This is fucking America. And it doesn't matter what color, creed, orientation you are. You could stand up for what you believe in. You could speak your mind. That's what America was founded on. Look, the American Revolution, not widely supported. But it was supported by people who were passionate about what they were doing. That's what we're trying to do here. I say we. It's just one guy. All right, so this one's going around. I'm a liberal. It's hard to find masculine men to date who aren't conservative. Well, first of all, like somebody pointed out, maybe try dating outside of LA because, But I'll tell you why. Because right now, the typical non-conservative, let's say non-conservative, okay? A lot of us independents would be considered conservative, but not necessarily Republican. Okay. Well, you know why? Because the people who believe what you subscribe to, they have been demoralized. They've been taught that the white ones, for example, have been taught that they are the oppressors. The non-whites have been taught that they are the oppressed. I am considered a colonizer because my wife is not white. Okay? I don't buy into that shit. So I don't feel it. I don't feel the weight. Poor me. Look at me. I'm such a bad person. They're being taught that the government or the internet will take care of everything for them. So why do they do anything? They don't believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment. I take responsibility every day for my own safety, okay, and my family's safety. And I am prepared to defend them in the event of an attack, I guess. All right? The things that make a masculine man, the left abandons. They treat it like a bad thing. A masculine man is toxic. A man who opens the door for you is toxic. No. You know what? If I saw you, I'm opening the door for you. Because you're beautiful. You're a beautiful woman. And if I was single, I would go out of my way to earn your love and respect. But they don't see it that way. They see that as toxic masculinity. When in reality, toxic masculinity, we know what that looks like, that's an extreme. That's not a masculine man. You know, they believe that they should be the ones taken care of because they've been neutered. They've been psychologically neutered. That's what happens. Maybe you should reassess your liberal views and realize that if you're looking for that kind of man, then you should be looking for that kind of government. Somebody who will actually take care of you, somebody who will protect you, somebody who cares about the flow of drugs across the border. The millions of immigrants that have just poured unchecked into this country. You know, maybe it's you who needs to change. Maybe that's really the problem. I hope that helps, lady. The traumatized Clippy found on Hunter's laptop. Old school Clippy. You know, R.I.P. Clippy. And finally, The View faces fan boycott unless Sunny Hostin is axed after clash. Look, if you are a fan of The View and you are sick of the one-party rule, going back to it on that show, please stop watching. Okay? The only way we are going to stop the left from further indoctrinating people to the far left views of socialism and communism is if we shut down every attempt. And unfortunately, that's what it looks like it's becoming. Because as we've discussed, Democrats do not admit mistakes. They do not alter their course. They double down on stupid ideas and keep saying, oh, we need more money. We need more money. Ugh, whack my mic. You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've atoned for them and I've fixed them. And that's all I want my government to do. Realize your mistakes and fix them. I'm Kid Copious, Purple State Party, and so are you. Peace, love everyone. Love everyone. Even your enemies. $1 bills, y'all.